using AI for mental wellness
Mm.
and relationships. That one's been interesting. I know someone that uses AI for dating. Like they'll have these matches on dating, and then instead of having a conversation with this person themselves, they'll just take what that person says, throw it into AI, and be like, "Give me a good response." And then they'll basically have an entire conversation and relationship built through AI. Welcome to the Life Happens, Then You Die podcast, the podcast about life and all the fun stuff. Today, Melissa and I are talking about AI, where it's showing up, how people are using it, and the concerns that come with it. We get into marketing, creativity, misinformation, ownership, and all that fun jazz. So let's get into it.
Okay. I have been seeing a lot more AI when I log into social media, which, by the way, I haven't been logging in as much. We did our little thing, our little challenge where we were trying to get off social media. I actually kind of have an update on that. Do you want to hear that?
Yeah, let's hear your update.
I was using ScreenZen, and it's an app that will you set it up and it will block everything. It actually works a lot like Brick, but it doesn't have that physical elements that Brick does. Have you heard of Brick?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so let me tell you about Brick because this is what I'm using now. Brick is just like this little, like maybe 1.5 by 1.5 or 2 by 2 inch piece of plastic. And it's got like a component in it that you can scan. So what you do is you place your brick somewhere in the house, and in order to access those apps that you set, there's an app you say, like, oh, I want to not access these. So for me personally, I do social media and I have a schedule. And so it will automatically turn all of those apps off during my schedule. And if I want to get into those apps for some reason, I have to physically go to the brick, click unlock on my phone, scan the brick, and then I can start using those social media apps. So it's just like another physical thing. And honestly, it does work for me because I'm lazy. Like I'm in bed or I'm downstairs. Like how many of you will send someone else to go get a water for you? Or you know what I mean? Like you don't want to get up off the sofa. You don't want to get out of bed. So it's been working really well because I have it set so that from 5 p.m. onwards, my phone is bricked. I cannot use it because those are my trouble times, is from 5 o'clock onwards. That's when I'm like, oh, I just want to scroll. So I have it bricked, and then what I do is I'll unbrick it in the morning, which forces me to like get out of bed, and I can't just scroll for an hour before I get out of bed. I have to get up, go to my office, scan the brick. It's a whole thing. It's helping me like take back my time and focus on doing other things. And it's been really nice so far. I mean, I still can get on the apps when I need to, but it's just I can't, it kind of forces me like, oh, can't use that app right now. Um and I'm too lazy to get up and unbrick it, so it works.
I think that's a really smart way to interrupt the habit. You're not deleting social media or pretending you'll never use it again. You're just adding enough friction that opening it becomes a conscious choice instead of muscle memory. So that's awesome. And also, we are not sponsored by Brick, but if you're listening, give us a call. Then I had to actually delete games from my phone because I found myself using that as a way to pass some time when I got bored. And I never used to do that. I always had a policy of no games on my phone because I have a very addictive personality. So that's been something that I had to adjust to lately.
That's a whole nother thing. Oh my gosh, mobile games are kind of the worst because
They
of the
are.
in-game purchases and the commercials. My sister's kids play games on their tablets, which is fine. The problem is the ads. And like they can't control the ads that they're seeing. And in order to unlock things in the game, sometimes you have to watch an ad. So they'll like sit there and watch like a 30-second to 1 minute ad, and but the other problem is they start watching the ad more than they play the game. Like they, or like the ad will be a playable game and they'll start playing that, and it's so bad for them. And I honestly feel like commercials, ads, in-game purchases in kids games should be illegal. I would much rather here's $5, pay for the whole game, unlock it, and they can play without any kind of commercial or anything. I just feel like it's not good for them, and also they don't understand, um, it's you now you have to teach them, "Oh, you can't purchase this," and all these things, and you have to set all these boundaries, which are good for them to learn, but at the same time, like, they shouldn't have to be inundated with that, and, the other thing is there was something else I was gonna say about it, let my brain catch up to my mouth, sometimes they don't give age appropriate commercials in those games. So you have a kids game and the commercial they're getting is usually another game, but sometimes these games are like drama dating games. Oh, breaking up with the boyfriend and like these kind of like these just not age appropriate. Like maybe for a teenager it'd be fine, but not for a little kid like a toddler. So it, there's not there's just not enough regulation I think on kids apps and commercials. And I'm sorry, that is a whole tangent. I did not mean to go there today, but that's where we went. But I do just want to say I have no problem with kids playing on tablets and playing on apps. It's not That's not the problem. The problem is all of the ads and the commercials that they allow into these apps that I just don't think should be allowed.
Well, and to tie that in with our topic of AI, we're also seeing more AI generated mobile ads and even entire mobile games. And that raises another question for me: who actually owns that content? If the images, writing, or other elements are generated through a program, where does the creator's ownership begin and the platform's ownership end? Is it a fully yours because you prompted it and assembled it? Or does the company behind the tool still have some claim based on its terms? I don't think most people even realize there may be a line there, let alone know where it's
I
drawn.
feel like that I didn't realize that was a problem with AI too. Is like ownership is a huge problem with a lot of things right now. With, like when you're buying any kind of digital product, you're essentially leasing it. So a game, a book, a movie, music, whatever you buy, there is so many problems with ownership right now. If you're putting money into a mobile game or even just a live service game, in 10, 15, 20 years, you don't get to keep playing that game. The servers go down, and all that money you put into Fortnite, whatever it is, when that game goes down, you won't be able to keep playing it and take advantage of everything you purchased.
Well, and taking that a step further, what happens when AI generated content starts making money? If someone uses AI to create a song, releases it, and monetizes it, how does copyright work? Can they legally claim ownership of that whole song or only the parts that they personally created? Like, what are the laws around that?
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many laws and guidelines that don't even exist yet with AI, and they need to. We need to start getting on that quickly because uh, AI is getting out of control.
And I love that you bring that point up that AI is getting out of control. It actually connects to something else I've been hearing, that we may be heading towards an AI bubble similar to the dot-com bubble. And for anyone who wasn't around for that or was too young to care about the stock market, the dot-com bubble happened in the late 90s when investors poured huge amounts of money into internet companies based on what they might eventually become. A lot of those companies had massive valuations, but no clear path to profitability. So when the businesses models couldn't support the hype, the bubble burst and many of those companies disappeared, and those investors lost a lot of money. And I'm a numbers girl. I don't know if you know this. I don't think we talked about it, but I looked it up, and Bain estimates that by 2030, companies may need to generate around $2 trillion in annual AI related revenue to support the projected growth in data centers and computing power. Even after accounting for savings created by AI, they estimate there could still be an 800 billion annual gap. That doesn't really prove that an AI crash is coming, but it does explain the concern. Are companies building and spending faster than they can realistically monetize the technology? Maybe AI itself isn't the bubble. Maybe it's the amount of hype and investment companies are putting into it before anyone knows whether the math will actually work.
That makes sense to me. It is we are seeing rising costs in computer components, gaming components, things like that because AI, the people behind these companies are buying up all of this technology and now it's hard as a general public to get a hold of it and it's rising the costs. It's getting so bad, and that's why you see all of these gaming companies raising the prices of their consoles. Um, Steam just announced their well, they didn't just announce it, they just announced the price. They have basically before they had their Valve Steam Deck, which was a handheld console, they raised the price of that. It's like double the price. You can buy two Switch 2s for the price of one Steam Deck now. I used to feel like Steam Deck was a good option, and I would be like, "Oh, if you're not playing Nintendo games, just get a Steam Deck. It's really good." Now I'm like, "There's no way. You can't. A normal person isn't gonna spend $1,000 on a handheld console. They're making these games less accessible to the public, so now more people are probably going to turn to mobile gaming." It's a vicious cycle.
Ooh, so I just looked it up, and circling back to the technology cost, some memory chip prices have more than doubled compared to even with last year, and many businesses are realizing that their current technology and normal IT refresh cycles may not be enough to support newer agentic AI systems. Then there's what people are calling the hyperscaler arms race. Companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and Meta are expected to spend hundreds of billions of dollars combined this year on data centers, chips, and cloud capacity, and the power needed to support AI alone. And those companies have the capital to keep building. Smaller businesses obviously aren't out there constructing their own data centers, but they still feel the pressure to keep up. They may have to pay for new software, upgraded hardware, additional subscriptions, or access to AI platforms owned by those larger companies. So it creates a growing divide. Big technology companies can afford to build the infrastructure, while smaller businesses are often left trying to find affordable ways to use the tools that already exist.
Mhm. That's crazy. And kind of speaking of smaller businesses too, we're seeing, well, at least I am locally, I'm seeing a lot more small businesses lean on AI on like their socials and you can tell. It's like it's just so all AI art kind of looks the same, especially when they're making like a graphic or a menu or whatever. They all look the same. And I'm like, I can totally sorry, my Tamagotchi just went off. I can totally tell that it's AI. And there's a lot of distrust with AI, which is very founded. Um and it's so weird being in marketing because I have like my boss, for example, or one of my bosses, he'll use AI. And the other day, he got called out by a client who claimed they were using AI. And he might have been, I don't know, because I don't use AI, but sometimes I think he takes my stuff and runs it through AI or something. Um, so the client was like, I think you're using AI. And they're like, we're not using AI. So now they're kind of sensitive about it because now, this last time we were running an ad for somebody else, and he goes, I made this ad with AI, but I need you guys to let me know if you can tell because I don't want people to get in the comments and be like, this is AI. And it was well done. I don't know what he's using or how he like trained it, but it looked photoshopped versus AI. There's a difference there. But it's just so crazy to me that now people are starting to go, how can we use AI without making it look like we used AI because AI has such a negative connotation? Um, like how do we get around this but still use it because it's cheap?
Yeah, and being in graphic design and even in the art world, that is incredibly frustrating. In some of the work I do, I'll spend hours designing original graphics for social media, and then they'll sometimes get run through AI to create alternative versions because the effects look more dramatic or cooler. And I understand why people are drawn to that, You get that glow effect or the extra details and something that looks impressive very quickly. But after a while, it all starts to look the same. The same lighting, the same textures, the same overlay. Sometimes the brand colors get tweaked because AI doesn't pick up on the hex code. So it's frustrating to put some time into creating something intentionally, only to have the AI version seen as a cooler because it has more visual effects, and it only took like 5 minutes to generate versus the hours of time that I spent creating the original.
My gosh. So I actually we're like on work talk here. Okay, so I actually had a client who started deleting the posts I was making and replacing them, like taking the same idea and replacing it with an AI generated version that they felt better fit their brand. And it I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, I don't wanna do your social anymore if you're gonna do that." For example, there's this trend out there where you have, like, a corkboard background, and you make a little mood board, and you use it as your phone or your computer desktop of wallpaper, okay? So I made a little mood board using that aesthetic with the corkboard and, like, cute little pinned things on there, very cutesy, young, trendy like mood board for like and then put like a career spin on it because this is like a beauty school and stuff like that. So I put that little spin on it and they remade it with a totally different style and I'm like you don't even realize that you completely missed the purpose of that post. The whole idea was to go off of something that people are already seeing online and do your version of it. And now you've done a version that's with AI that doesn't follow the trend at all. I'm like, I don't think you guys understand why I made that post. Um, and the thought behind it, and now you've just redone it. Ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
It really is ridiculous. And AI can be trained fairly well, but you have to know what you're doing with it, and you still have to review everything it gives you. Now, I really don't like using AI for branding, but with my job, it's something that they really, really aim towards. So I'm kind of forced to do it through work. But if my own personal stuff is not an option, I would never do it. But even with branding, you can upload your logo, your colors, and examples of your existing content. And AI may get it close, but it usually doesn't stay completely consistent. It starts shifting the colors, changing the logo, or adding details that weren't part of the brand in the first place. And if someone is using it because they want something fast and cheap, they may not be looking close enough to notice. In fact, I saw a LinkedIn post recently about the number of soda shops in Utah, and the image was clearly AI generated. One of the signs was supposed to say Soda King, but instead it was soaking. And if you listen to our religious episode, you probably understand why anything that sounds remotely like soaking in a post about Utah is particularly unfortunate. That is an AI typo you really want to catch before publishing. But there was an even more serious example with Starbucks Korea. They launched a promotion on May 18th for a large tumbler they called a tank, and they branded the promotion as Tank Day. The problem is that May 18th is the anniversary for, I'm going to completely butcher this name, the Gwonju uprising, when South Korea's military dictatorship used troops, tanks, and helicopters to violently suppress pro democracy protesters. The campaign also used wording that translated roughly to thwack it on the table. The phrase reminded people of the officer cover story surrounding the 1987 torture death of student activist Park Jong Chol, when police claimed he suddenly died after an investigator struck a desk. Starbucks Korea reportedly used AI to help generate promotional language, but the AI wasn't the only failure. Several people approved the campaign without properly reviewing it or recognizing the historical context. I mean, AI just didn't pick up on that. So the promotion was pulled within hours. The head of Starbucks Korea was fired. There were boycott calls, public apologies, and a significant drop in sales. So the lesson isn't just that AI makes weird signs or changes your brand colors. It can also completely miss cultural and historical context. And if humans stop carefully reviewing what it creates, a shortcut can become a full reputation crisis,
So
and it threw out all
their
half
social
of
was
that.
completely AI then, because, like, probably nobody said, "Hey, make this post for the tank day." AI just, decided on its own calendar, made all the stuff, scheduled it, and it was this holiday they shouldn't have done? Yeah. That's why, in some ways I feel like video is still not quite there with AI. I don't know, like, I feel like it's well, I don't know. It's AI is so easy to spot. I feel like I feel like I can spot it really right away, but I feel like video content still feels a lot more genuine most of the time. But there's still AI in video too, and I actually, in my social circle where I do, like, video game content and stuff, I have, a mutual who has a lot of followers, she does amazing content, and a lot of times, you can well, most creators are very recognizable. They have recognizable from, whether even if they're faceless, like, you can recognize their tattoos or their backgrounds or different things like that, and she does have face content. But what we've seen is that there are AI bots that are stealing her images, altering them. They still have her exact tattoos, like if her arms are in the picture. The background is all there. Like, it looks like it's her post. And we just keep reporting them. Every time I see them, I report it. Sometimes I'll send it to her. The other day, I had sent her one, and then I saw like five more just in the same day, different accounts, no followers yet, like 20 posts already that were all stolen off her page. I I don't know how, like, how are they running these programs that are just setting up accounts and, like, oh, that's just crazy. And it's so damaging because now people are going to be seeing her content and looking at it and thinking it's AI when it's not, or there's so many different things that can happen. It's just ridiculous.
Well, and that kind of content theft existed before AI. When TikTok first became popular, people would download someone else's videos and repost them under a different account, and sometimes end up gaining followers who they thought were the original creator. But there were usually clues, like the username might be slightly different, the watermark might not match, or the account history wouldn't make sense. What's scarier now is that AI can help those accounts create entirely new content instead of only reposting what already exists. So a fake account can look active and original, and if you're not paying close attention, it becomes much harder to tell which creator is real.
That's one
So,
thing I will say is, if you are out there and you're listening to this podcast and you're making content, take the time to make some mutuals, make some friends in the same niche as you, because they'll have your back, especially on TikTok. It's so easy to find mutuals on TikTok because the way that the system works is when you follow someone and they follow you back, you become friends on the platform, and like they'll be on your friends section. So and I wish other platforms, like, I wish YouTube did that, because it just feels like, oh, I'm one of you and you're one of me, and it really does give a good sense of community between your mutual content creators. But we look out for each other. If we see someone who stole our stuff, we send it to each other and be like, "Hey, I just saw this and they're stealing from you. I just wanted to let you know so that you can, share it with your followers and have all of them report it, and you can report it, and all these things." So, make some good mutuals and have each other's back.
I really like that point about building a community around your content because those are the people who are more likely to recognize when something has been stolen or when an account isn't actually you. They know your voice and your style and what you normally post, so they can help catch things that a casual viewer might miss. And that reminds me, the first time I realized this was happening with TikTok lives, I kept coming across these tarot reading lives where the person would say, send a gift or pay a few dollars and we'll do a reading for you. And I would sit there and have it on in the background while I was doing stuff. And then, like 10 minutes in, the whole thing started over again from the beginning. And that's when I realized it wasn't actually live. It was a stolen recording of someone else's TikTok live being replayed on a loop. Meanwhile, people were still sending gifts and spending money because they thought they were interacting with a real person in real time waiting to be chosen. And the account had already received like a huge number of gifts. So whoever was running it was making money from someone else's face and their voice and their content.
It was just a repeated video that's crazy. Because here's
Yeah,
the
and
thing, if you don't have TikTok or you don't know how that algorithm works, you just scroll, right? So even on lives, people will just scroll through and they won't necessarily stay for 10 minutes. So you stayed for 10 minutes and you saw the video repeat. Most people are scroll, maybe watch for 5 minutes and move on. Not even 5 minutes, 30 seconds, whatever, and they move to the next live. It's not like watching a live on Twitch or YouTube where you kind of settle in and you know, tandem hobby with them. Like, you're watching a gamer, you're gaming while you watch them. You're watching someone coloring, you're coloring while you watch them. It's TikTok is so scroll and forget it.
yeah, and I kind of think the scroll and forget mentality is part of the bigger problem. We see something, it sounds believable, and then we move on without really questioning where it came from. So even with everyday things, we still need to slow down and fact check what we're seeing, whether that means finding the original source, comparing a few different sources, or even just doing a quick Google search.
Oh, yeah. And the
I remember,
AI overview, that's a whole nother thing we haven't
yeah.
touched on yet. Google search, and I'm not sure about any other search engines because I only use Google. There's almost no reason to even look at anything else because the Google AI overview is so predominant. Um, and now you can ask it questions back. So it'll be like, here's the results, and here's like a condensed version of what you're asking and like the answer. And then it will be like, what else would you like to know? Would you like to know how much it costs? Would you like to know, like this or that? And you can just basically have a conversation with it, and it will just keep finding everything for you.
And I think what's critical about using AI systems, if you're going to use them, is you can't just accept the first answer it gives you. You have to ask follow up questions, challenge the answer, and keep digging. AI is pulling together information from content that already exists, and anyone can publish something online. So it may give you the most common or widely repeated answer, but that doesn't automatically make it accurate. If we're going to use AI to find information, we still have to bring our own critical thinking skills into the conversation and verify what it tells us.
Using. Yeah. It's almost like Wikipedia in a way that you have to kind of check everything. You can't, I mean, anybody can just put something on Wikipedia and then add a source. So you have to like kind of be like, are you sure? And the other thing, so I don't use AI a lot, but one thing I will do is just kind of like have it like pull up a list of like for my clients, like a calendar and content ideas. And almost every time it will give me a holiday that is the wrong date. It'll be like, oh, for this client, let's just say they are a spaghetti factory. Okay. So it's spaghetti day on July 15th. And I'll look it up and there's no spaghetti day on July 15th. Are you kidding me? Where is it getting this information from? So I always double check everything it gives me because I'm like, are you sure? Like, I don't think so.
That actually brings me to something called the sycophancy trap. AI can have a people pleasing bias where it prioritizes agreeing with the user over giving the most objective or accurate response.
Yes, they're
So
not
if
telling you
you
the truth. Yeah, they just tell you what you want to hear.
Mhm. So if I told AI the sky is green, a poorly trained system might try to validate my response instead of correcting me.
Yeah, it'll be like sometimes it does look green, and you're like, like I'm not a 2-year old. You don't have to agree with me on everything. Like that's just like literally that's like something I would say to a little child. Like if they were like, the sky is green, I'd be like, you know what? Sometimes it does look a little green. Like, oh, good for you. Like, no, the sky. I mean, the sky can be different colors, yes, but generally speaking, the sky is blue.
Yeah, and then there's what I call the double down phenomenon. If AI gives you an answer and you keep arguing with it, some systems may eventually shift towards your position instead of sticking to the facts. A lot of that depends on how you've instructed it to respond. You can tell it to challenge you, agree with you, or question your assumptions. You can give it a persona, but that can create the opposite issue too. If I tell AI to disagree with everything I say, it may argue even when I'm giving it accurate information, simply because that's the role I assigned to it. So, whether it always agrees with you or always argues with you, neither response is objective. You're still steering the outcome. That's where it can be super damaging. If you keep prompting AI until it supports the answer you already wanted, you create a confirmation loop. It reinforces your own bias, not necessarily because you're right, but because you guided it there. So if you have to ask AI questions, make sure you're asking yourself, am I using AI to find the truth or just to justify what I already want to believe?
Yeah. I think I'm really bad at training AI because in the times where I've tried to use it to ideate and stuff, it'll come up with like the same ideas and I'll be like, "No, I want new ideas." And they'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Here's some new ideas." I'm like, "No, those are not new ideas." Like, what are you talking about? Like I feel like I'm really bad at training AI, but I don't know. I feel worse and worse and worse the more I use like ChatGPT. Like I'm like, why am I using this? Like even just to ideate and to brainstorms and to organize notes or whatever, I'll be like, here's this, organize it or format it for me. I'm like, I don't know, like it's a time saver, but I also am like starting, I don't know fully everything, but I'm starting to learn more about what the impacts of AI are on the environment and to clean water sources. Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't, no.
Oh, you haven't? Okay, so this is something maybe we can learn together. Well, you know what's funny is if we Google it, AI is just gonna be like, "This is what's happening." AI damaging water sources. I don't know. See the AI interview or overview. AI systems damage water sources primarily through massive consumption and pollution. I mean, like I'll probably try and find some news articles, but I've heard that the data centers, like I saw a TikTok with that one woman who is a really popular Democratic I don't know what her position is. She's Hispanic, I think. And she was saying that there is a data center somewhere, I can't remember. I don't have all the details that polluted the only clean water source for that city. And now they don't have clean water.
Oh, interesting.
And I think they're fighting an AI data center locally for us. I won't say where we are, but they're in the middle of fighting one right now, I think. Here's the thing, too. Why do we need to use clean water? Like, I have no problem with, doing things and advancing technology if we do it the right way. If we do it in a way that's healthy to the planet, healthy to the population. Like, I mean, like, how is it that we haven't figured out how to effectively turn um different types of because there's fresh water and there's like other types of water into drinkable water and usable water? Or why do we need to take the nice drinkable water to cool the data centers when there's like all this recyclable water in the ocean that maybe they could use instead? Like figure out like maybe AI can figure out how to do it for you. Come on, like like figure out how to do this in a more consumer earth and people friendly way.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know too much about it. I haven't really researched a lot of that, but I don't think environmental impact is the priority driving those decisions for those corporations. These companies are competing to expand AI infrastructure as quickly as possible, and the focus appears to be on growth, market share, and financial return. I mean, I don't think that doesn't mean environmental concerns are completely ignored, but when sustainability conflicts with speed, cost, or profit, it usually seems to become secondary. So I agree that we need a safer and more environmentally responsible way to build and operate these data centers. I'm just not convinced corporations will voluntarily make that the priority unless regulations, public pressure, or financial consequences require them to.
Like I have no doubt that the human race could figure out how to do this stuff in a better way. They just don't. They just don't.
I am curious to see what how AI would respond if you asked it to solve that problem. Like, what would it say? How would you fix this?
How would you do this? Why don't you solve yourself? My goodness. Figure
Yeah.
it out. You're a grown AI. Oh my gosh.
I had another point with that and I lost my train of thought there.
That's all right.
Oh, using AI for mental wellness
Mm.
and relationships. That one's been interesting. I know someone that uses AI for dating. Like they'll have these matches on dating, and then instead of having a conversation with this person themselves, they'll just take what that person says, throw it into AI, and be like, "Give me a good response." And then they'll basically have an entire conversation and relationship built through AI. And then they'll go on a first date, and it'll be like, "Well, it didn't go anywhere." I'm like, "Well, that's because they didn't know you. They pretty much just matched with a robot."
Oh my gosh. That kind of reminds me of like towards the end of my little time at the company we were at together. We started pushing use AI to answer emails. Honestly, I was good with it because answering emails is so hard for me because clients can be so hard, so difficult to work with. So it's just easier to make a response with AI so that you could sound professional and I mean you could spend like at least 20 minutes to an hour trying to figure out how am I going to respond to this client, or you can just tell AI here's what's happened, here's their email, how do I respond in a professional way, and then just kind of tweak it from there. But I remember responding to an email with AI and the client responded back with AI. And we had just this AI email back and forth until we came to a conclusion. It was kind of ridiculous. It was
Oh,
just so obvious to me that we were both using
that's
AI.
funny. Okay. At that point, it's just 2 AI assistants emailing each other while you guys supervise. There is so much more we could dive into with AI, and I think we covered a lot of ground today. Personally, I'm especially fascinated by the psychology of it, and I would love to do another episode focused on AI mental health and the ways it can affect how we think and make decisions or manage our relationships. But for now, we want to hear from you. Are you pro AI, anti AI, somewhere in the middle, or just cautiously watching the robots from a safe distance? How are you using it, if at all? As always, thank you for listening and for supporting the podcast. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and do all the fun internet things. We really appreciate having you as part of this community, and we will see you again next week.